The Bank of England freezes interest rates. What are the impacts to you? What's going to happen next? What does that mean for inflation? What does that mean for assets? What does that mean for you moving forward in property? And in this video, I want to share with you what the Bank of England have actually done. Not what they've said they've done, but what they've really done, which is under the radar. And there's three key impacts of the fact that the Bank of England base rate today has not gone up. In fact, it's been retained at 4.25%. Now, there was 9 parties that actually decided those interest rates. 6 of them decided to actually not move it at all, and 3 of them wanted to drop the rate by 0.2%. And what happened in the end is it flatlined. It remained at 4.25%. Now, there are 3 key impacts of the rates where they are right now and what's going to happen next. Inflation, tangible assets, and my personal prediction for you in terms of where interest rates are going next. And if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Cameron Devedi. I'm the founder of Premier Property and an investor developer. And also over the last 10 years, I've trained over 200,000 people to help them to create their financial freedoms. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, now's the time to do this. There's only one favor I'll ever ask you, and that is to subscribe to our channel. The community is growing, and why not get the first notifications so you have your finger on the pulse when it comes to property investing. So you can do this right now. Now, let's discuss the 3 key parts. So the first is inflation. Now, when it comes to inflation, the Bank of England understand that inflation is going to rise. The government are also aware of this. So because of this, the Bank of England base rate has remained at 4.25%. And inflation, my prediction for this is it's actually going to rise well over 5%. This time next year, it's going to be more than 5%. Now, for the rest of the economy, that's quite concerning. However, if you are a property investor, in a strange way, inflation actually becomes your friend. Because if you think about it, if you measure inflation over a 10-year period, just a medium-term plan, and if you assess that if inflation is just 5% each year, the thing is, with inflation, it's not linear. Inflation doesn't just erode money every year in the same figure. What happens is it compounds. So if inflation is 5% each year, then over a 10-year period, inflation is compounded to 62.89%. Let's call it 63%. Now, what this means is if you bought a property at just £100,000, then the £100,000 property, just because of one indicator, inflation, by the way, is going to rise all the way up to £163,000. Inflation increases prices of any kind of goods and services. So property is no different, by the way. And that's not it. On the other side, if you are borrowing money, money does not differentiate whether it's in a bank account or actually if it's a loan. So if it's a loan, that's also going to depreciate. And if we're discussing the same figures, 5% inflation, eroding money year upon year over a 10-year period, you're going to find that when it's downward inflation, that loan has also reduced. And that's reduced by 38.9%. So you can notice that tangible assets increase in value and the loans can actually decrease in value. Very interesting when you really think about it. Now, as a thank you for being on this channel, I've actually created an ebook all about the 10 key impacts that property investors like you need to know about. So feel free to download this right now. You can do it, there's a link here below. It's for free, for honoring you for being here right now. And hopefully you subscribe to the channel because you're getting a lot of value. Now let's discuss tangible assets. With the current circumstances where there's a war going on in Iran and Israel, of course, very unfortunate, what is happening? Anything that is tangible is increasing in price. You've only got to look at the oil prices. Have a look at the gold price. All of the wealth is now being moved into these types of tangible assets. Gold itself, I was just looking at this morning, has gone up to $3,340 per ounce. That's over a 30% increase. In fact, it's the highest it's ever been. Now, why? Like what I say, tangible assets. When you look at property, UK property specifically, also another tangible asset. And many professional property investors starting and scaling are jumping into these property assets because they understand that it's solid. ChatGPT isn't going to take that over. Humans are still going to need a place to live. And where we have the Bank of England base rate right now at just 4.25%, the lending and the borrowing for these types of assets is also very cost effective. So we discussed inflation, we discussed tangible assets, and here's my prediction for the rest of this year when it comes to the Bank of England base rate. Now, I've been making these predictions for the last 10 years, And everything I've said so far has come true. I mean, I might get it wrong one day, but so far it's been exactly what it's been said. Now, my view for the rest of the year when it comes to Bank of England base rates is that's it. That's our lot. The interest rates are not going to be going down any further because, as I already mentioned, inflation is increasing. The global wars, etc., that are happening out there, all the global economical factors are really impacting the UK economy. That's our lot. That's all we're going to get. Interest rates are going to stabilize where we are, and over the next 12 months, you're looking at maybe within a 1% even of an increase. That won't happen all in one time. That'll be a gradual increase, but that's kind of where we are. Now, that's not a bad thing, by the way. That's actually a very good thing for us. Now, if you look at Bank of England base rates, they normally normalize around 5 to 6%. And keep in mind that lenders don't necessarily always lend on the Bank of England base rate. They lend on something known as SONIA, SONIA, a benchmark that banks use in a nutshell. Literally, they might borrow money from each other and they use SONIA as the benchmark. So it's time to jump into assets, it's time to jump into property, it's time to fund your deals with the most cost-effective finance that you're ever gonna get. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you haven't subscribed, now's the time to subscribe, and remember to get your free report all about how the 10 impacts of property investing are going to affect you. It's Cam Devady helping you take your property investing to the next level. Bye for now.